Aaschi is a beautiful and unusual Bengali word. It's used when you are leaving home, for work, for pleasantries, for whatever. You say it to the folks you are leaving behind. Instead of saying, I'm going, you say Aaschi, which means I'm coming back. And this one simple word becomes a promise to return, a pledge that the parting is temporary. In its intonation, meaning and feeling, it's an intimacy. This is Sunil Bhandari and you're listening to Uncut Poetry. Aaschi, a promise. She looked back and said, Aaschi, and closed the door behind her. Maybe it was just reflex, maybe hope, maybe unwittingly a promise. Before leaving, she'd sung a song. She'd asked whether we wanted a happy one or a sad one. I'd replied, a sad one. And she'd said, but I warn you, it'll break your heart. And I'd said, it's already broken. How could I tell her that as she sang, it broke again? So much of our life is a scurrying from ourselves. So much of it is merely plucking its guitar string, that when intimations of a full life come, it becomes unbearable. She'd not been particularly forthcoming, nor had she volunteered intimacies. She was just there, a beautiful presence, sentient, searching for meaning, even as the party's whirlwind became a cesspool and sucked individualities. We saved ourselves by being the frayed edges, by secretly knowing ways of surviving trajectories. It's then that she saw me properly. Kindred souls, she said and laughed. The vortex around was subsiding, but we already knew how to keep afloat. We could recite Heather Nova lyrics by heart. We both cried while reading poetry. Our favorite pastime was lying curled in bed reading. And then we differed. She said, intent was rarely rewarded, that we are all driven by fate. When the singing started, as it does at the end of drunken evenings, in this city of intermittent joy, we laughed through it all, and I asked her to sing. She asked whether I wanted a happy song or a sad one. I replied, a sad one. And she said, but I warn you, it will break your heart. And I said, it's already broken. It was 4 a.m. when she disengaged from our conversation. There was still someone strumming a guitar. She got up and said, I have work to go to, and she smiled. I had never felt so fully alive in my entire life, but I remembered what we'd not agreed upon, so I asked, will we meet again? She smiled, said nothing, picked up her purse. She looked back and said, Aaschi, and left. This is Sunil Bhandari and you were listening to Uncut Poetry. I have a fantastic newsletter called The Uncuts. It's a weekly dosage of culture, art, music, poetry. Please do subscribe to it. The link is in the notes. And if you love this episode, do share it with someone you love. And follow Uncut Poetry on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Ghana, JioSaavn, or wherever you get your podcasts from. See you next week.